No. Dobre quoi? Dobre utro. It's a pleasure to see you so early in the morning on a Sunday. So I am supposed to give a master class. The only problem, I am not a master, so I can give a class. And I have no idea who will play today. Are some of you? So you will play. So 3 persons I've heard, no? So just boys, no girls? Where are the girls? Ah, they are sleeping. So, mademoiselle, what is your repertoire? No repertoire. What you want. If I have a choice, I would say Boulez Sonatina. You ask me. So Boulez Sonatina, and you? Jolivet? No, so what do you want to play? Let me check. Nothing. Monsieur. Bach sonata. Which one? Do we have a piano? No? What's that? Image. What's that? Okay? Concept. What's that? Okay. Okay. Sanchez. Binden? Binden? Who is this? Okay, but first, I had the idea first to check with you and to see and to speak a little about the flute in general. That was my wish. So how can I manage this? I think the best way, I will begin to explain you some generalities, but it would be nice if you had some questions. Questions about the flute, of course, and especially about the technique of the flute, and how to work, and how to find out the right way to practice. Because as you know, to practice the flute is something which is actually who has to be very precise, and all the time you should know why you are practicing and on which focus, how do you say, which focus you are looking for. That's right?
What you focus on.
What you focus on. Can we just say hello to Mr. the maestro? Because I often say to my students, when you work alone, when you practice for a few hours every day, and if you practice in the wrong way, you will do, of course, improvements. But you will do improvements for bad things. At the beginning you have a small problem, and after practicing 5 hours a day, you will have a big problem. And this is very important to notice that if you don't practice in the right way, you will get more and more and more and more and more difficulties. So that's the reason why it's so important to know how to practice. Okay. Now, it's difficult to speak like a lecture, but because I never did that before. So it's a premiere. What I'm doing every day to begin my day is to train my breath. Because as you know, to play the flute, you have to take air and to spend air. That seems so evident, but it's not so evident. When you are doing sport, you are always beginning with some exercises to warm up. Huh? When you do sport, you never begin a sport, immediately you have to do something to wake up your muscles. It's exactly the same on the flute for me. I don't say I am right, but this is my opinion. Huh? Each flutist and teacher has his own opinion, but here I am invited here to give you my opinion. But it doesn't mean that my opinion is the own opinion and I am right and all the other flutists are wrong. No. But now listen to my opinion. What I am doing, I am training every morning, normally morning, the pump, l'air, the air pump, you know? Huh? Because inside of us we have something which is so precious, which is probably the most important in playing the flute and of course playing a woodwind instrument. Because blowing is a quality. This is very important. When I was young, when I practiced the flute, when I was beginning the flute, the opinion was a little different. To breathe or to take air in a musical work was a problem. And to play a woodwind instrument was something less than playing a string instrument or a keyboard instrument. The woodwind instrument had a problem. The problem was air. Good instrument, but you have to use air. But I think this is a quality. This is not a default, this is a quality. Why? Because, of course, to take air, often it's difficult. When you play partita, first movement, of course, it's always a problem to take air. But to say something in blowing in an instrument, this is something very precious, and this has to be cultivated. So, now, first exercise, I have a black flute, I hope you are not racist. Huh? It's not a baroque flute. Huh? It's a little cheaper than gold flute. And it burns much better. So what I am doing with this black flute every day, I have also a metallic one, but today I wanted to have black. For you, especially. I am playing like the singers are doing, I am playing a vocalise. I have done a book about the vocalise. And why did I do this book? Because, you know, I am an opera player. I played in an opera orchestra. And I am always thinking that the flute should be so close as possible to the singers. And probably singing, when you listen to a singer, for me and for many people, for the majority of us, to sing is something extremely expressive. Probably the most expressive. It's, for me, most expressive to sing than to play. And we have a chance on the flute, we can go in the same way as a singer. So what are doing the singers when they begin their day? They are doing vocals. So I thought I could do the same. But play a vocalise. Bonjour, monsieur. Très bien, ça. Très bien. No, it's okay, I speak in my bad English, but... Nobody understands? Peut-être somebody can play a vocalise. Sanjir? Yeah, I need somebody to show. So when I play, the very first exercise I do, now it's very important. it's not an exercise for the sound. It's not an exercise for the sound. And it should not be perfect. It is an exercise for the air. So if you begin and it's not perfect, it's okay. So for example, I begin my day with this. I mean, I play so naturally as possible. I'm not doing an exercise for the sound. So again, alors Sanchez, tu viens? And when I blow, I try to do like a singer. When I go up, I blow more. And when I go down, I blow a little less. Listen. And when I go up, if I blow more, of course, the sound could be a little too sharp. It could happen. What can I do? Because of course you have to play in tune. When you go up and you blow more, or I speak of this after, but first I have to speak, but I will come back to this question. But what I am focused, what I am looking for when I play this kind of exercise. This is very important. I try to practice my, I would say my yo-yo. You know this game, the yo-yo? Huh? So, imagine here you have a yo-yo. Huh? And the yo-yo, you're doing, here it's exactly the same. The blow, the wind you are doing is progressive. Progressive, you understand? More and less and more and less. This is what inside is happening. Look. I am blowing more. I am opening the mouth, of course, otherwise it's really too sharp. Huh? Fingerings on the high register. But what is important is to try, this is now the main thing, is to try to play so natural as possible. And what we are doing often as a mistake, for me, is to play like this. To control the high register. To close the high register. Huh? When you sing, when you are doing a vocalism, I am not a singer, but I will try. Long. Long. Okay, I am not a singer, I told you. But when a singer is doing a vocalism, the high register is louder than the low. Huh? Never you will hear long. And on the flute we are often doing this. I mean, we are playing the low register so loud and the high register so close. And this seems a little strange. It's not strange for the flute club. On the flute club we like this kind of thing, to play very tense in the high register and very loud in the low register. But this is especially in the flute club. In the music world, it sounds a little different. And the very first step, the very first thing you have to do every morning is to play so naturally as possible. So naturally as possible. and not doing something sophisticated. And we often begin the day with sophisticated exercises. For example, one which is very famous. This one, the famous Moïse exercise. But this is so difficult, this is too difficult to begin the day. Because you have to tense the muscle, you have to do a diminuendo, you have to do so many things, and it's so abstractive. I mean, just sort of, I would say, begin with very simple things. You can also choose, if you don't have this vocalist book, for example, you can choose a scale. A scale is perfect, also a perfect exercise for the sound. A scale in legato. But playing in the sense of a singer. And when you go up, really play louder. Something like that. You can also choose Tafanel book, number 10. In the same sense, begin and play like a beginner. Sanchir, can you play a vocalist for me, please? And so I check with her a little what happened. Six. That's okay. It's difficult, huh? In the morning, on Sunday, after 2 days of nothing. Okay, essai numéro 6. I don't stop immediately. Why? Because we have to warm up. And anyway, it's not possible immediately to have something completely perfect. So she has to take time. Now what she is doing is fine because actually she's blowing. I told you to blow more when you go up. It's not exactly, it's true, but it's more how to go. This exercise is more an idea of how to go from one note to the other. And from this note number 2 to note number 3, and 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. And how we go from one note to the other only with the air. Actually, we cannot use anything else. We have to go from one note to the other with the air. Huh? I mean, each note is with a little more air. And this is named le legato. Because we speak a lot of legato. Legato, legato, legato. But what is legato? How can we do a nice legato? So some of you will reply and say, it's with your head. You are thinking to the last note or the note which is on this point of the phrase and blah, 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 blah. But this is too intellectual. To do a legato, we use only our hair. So that's the reason why this thing is so important, to practice what is around this yo-yo. But before, now, Sanchez is excellent. Now before, I spoke of how to practice the air, but the very first step is to be sure that when you take the air, you put it so deep as possible in your body. Huh? I am sure you have heard about this, to put the air so deep as possible in your body. Can we check a little, everybody? So now we will do some little exercises. Can you stand up, everybody? Thank you very much. As you know, I would say there are two kinds of taking the air in our body. There are two ways. Way number one, the more usual, the one you use when you're not playing the flute, is to lift the shoulders. This is the one we use often, and when you say, hey, hey, la la, la, oops, okay. This is wrong to play the flute. After, I will explain why. And what we are supposed to do is to take the air and doing this. So now my question is, everybody has to check himself or herself. Put your hands here and breathe normally with the mouth, not with the nose, with the mouth, and check if something is happening here. So to get this kind of way of breathing is a little complicated. Anyway, there are many exercises for this. If you are not able to do this, you have the possibility, of course, to go on your bed and to test. On your bed, it's sure it will work. That's for sure. Huh? If, when you are standing up, when you are like this, and if it doesn't work, you can do this kind of exercise. You put your hands here, and you do this. You can try. And now breathe normally. And normally, you would feel your hands something new. And when you are like this, you can after stand up progressively until here. When you breathe, if you want to have this kind of breath, when you take air, this is another kind of exercise. When you take air, you have, in the same time, to try to put the shoulders down. It makes a little stupid attitude, but anyway, you do. Now I check a little. Mademoiselle. Good. Well, it's okay, it's okay. Mademoiselle, I take just the girl. No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, monsieur. Alors, That's good. So now you can sit down. Very much. It's like on the mass, because you are Monday morning, so of course, and the please. No, seriously. Why should we do this? Why are we using this type of breath? Why? Do you have some answer to this question? It can be helpful. So, my question for you is, why should we do and breathe like this? Seems so difficult, and at the same time, it's really stupid. We can play like this, and why now I ask you the opposite? Do you have an idea? That's a beginning of good answer. You have more power, you mean?
Yeah, it's more breath because it is difficult to push here the air, and if we push the air, we can. It will be more breath
inside. I don't think so. I'm not sure. Actually, you know, I am not a doctor, so I don't know exactly what's happened. But I think when you breathe here, or if you breathe here, you have the same quantity of air. I would even say you can have a little more here, but it's not a question of quantity. It's not a question of quantity. And everybody has approximately the same quantity. It's not a question of quantity. It's a question of using an element of our body who can change, remind this, who can change the pressure and the power of your air. Huh? You can change the pressure, the speed of the air. You see what I mean? You can suddenly change, and this is so important. When you breathe here, to change something is very difficult. Let's do a small experiment. Put your hands here and just say, ha, 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 like a dog. Ha, ha, ha. Okay? When you do ha, 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 you are using the diaphragm, which is this, of course, this element on which the air is placed, is based, and with this element, you push the air. Okay. Now, imagine if you breathe completely wrongly, you cannot use this. You can, it's not possible. You have to check this. You use ha, 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 ha. You are doing with the throat. But here you have no chance to use this diaphragm thing. So that's the reason why when you take the air here, you have no chance to blow more, or it's like something which is completely automatic. You are just waiting. And when you are a beginner, remember when you were a beginner, when you began the flute, and you did that. Huh? You remember? I remember. The teacher, no, it was with the embouchure. With the embouchure. No control. Of course, it's not possible to have any control if you do this. You have just to wait. In the other case, of course, when you're a child, you don't begin like this, but you should actually. you can lead, you can do something with your air, you can just push, and this is the thing you have to cultivate when you play my exercises of vocalize. Do you understand? It's really a question of, it's not an exercise of sonorité. It has nothing to do with sonorité. Sonorité, huh? Forget this word. No sonorité. No sonorité. Just air. If the air is on the right place, the sonority will be fine. Anyway. The sonority, I never practice it. Never. But in the same time, I practice it all the time. Never and all the time. I mean, I'm focused on the sonorité all the time when I play, but I never practice it separately. Often we have a bad idea. We are doing the exercises like this. Chapter 1, sonorité. I close this door. Sonority is done. Détaché. Okay, close. Terminé. And now I play the works, the Mozart concerto. And I forgot the sonority and I forgot the détaché. And I do something new. But this is not the right way to practice. You always have to focus on everything together. Okay? Now, is that clear for the breath? Is that okay? Do you understand? So, when you practice from the first second to the last second of your work, you have to focus on this air machine. Huh? When you play the Mozart concerto, of course, I am playing with the wind machine. Huh? And without the wind machine, which is bad. Huh? One more. No life. And with air, completely different. And the fingers are the same, the sonority is the same, but I'm using my air because the air makes the expressivity. If you use the air, you will play with expressivity. If you play cutting the air, no expression. This is very important. So, what I'm doing every day to begin, it can be, yes, a vocalize, huh? But simple. And it can be fast. Huh? It's not necessary to stay on each note. And like a singer. Or, I don't know, whatever you want, arpeggio. Taffanel book is the best book. You have everything inside. You have just to buy one book, is a Taffanel. After, it's okay. You can buy the Reicher book as well, but Taffanel is a good book. So, second thing I practice, the scales. But I practice the scales in the same way. The way of blowing. Of course, I have to stop a little to breathe. Because this is strange. This is for me always something very strange. Taffanel, he was a flute player. So he knows the problems of taking air. And he wrote all the book, the 17 exercises is written without any place to breathe. For me, it's a little strange. It should. When you write a violin book, you add the bowings. Or if you write a piano book exercise, you put the fingers, the number of the fingers. But on the flute, I don't know why, no place to breathe. In the Tafanel book, in the Moïse book, never. So you have to decide. I decide every 2 mountains, every 2 scales. I was 70 years old, and I didn't know exactly what about how to breathe, and I was completely wrong. I was. I was like this. So I was thinking something is wrong, but I didn't know. My teacher at this time, he never spoke of breathe, of air. This was another little old-fashioned style of playing. And I went to a master-class with Michel Debost, who is for me in the pantheon of the teachers, of the professors. He's for me a genius, a really fantastic person. And Debost, he listened to me and he said, what is this breathe? Well, this is completely wrong. So I was, what? Breathe, what about breathe? I didn't know. And because I remember, yes, before one teacher, I asked him one time, I said, how can I breathe well in the right situation? And he says, when you breathe, you should lose your pants. Clean. Huh? Because his opinion was to breathe here like the old singers. Like this, huh? This was an old-fashioned style of taking the air and losing the pants. So I was losing my pants. Now it's a little more difficult because of this. I never lose my pants anymore, but okay. But you know, so when I saw the boss said, it's completely wrong. So what? And he explained me what I am explaining you today, exactly the same. But to change this in my body, to change this attitude, I took 2 years. It's very difficult to change a breath. If you breathe here and suddenly you have to breathe here, it's very difficult. That's the reason why, when I play a scale, I took the habit to stop, to think, no, okay, and go forward. You see what I mean? Do you understand? It's clear? When you play like this, play full sound. Full sound. The flute is a physical instrument. The flute is a physical instrument. You understand? you have to involve your body when you play. It's not because it's a soft instrument and poetic and in wood. So you lose your time if you play like this. Often I ask my students, how long do you practice? So the regular answer is 5 hours a day. So this is too much. This is really too much. Why? Because you cannot play 5 hours in a full sound. This is not possible, or you are a Hercule, I don't know. But a Titan. But when you are a normal person, if you play full sound, the exercises, everything, you cannot play more than 3 or 4 hours. It's not possible. Huh? And if you play 5 hours, you play 5 hours, but in a different way, relaxed way, and probably this makes you doing improvements for the fingers, I don't know. But in the same time, you can get some default, you can have some mistakes, basic mistakes in the playing. So this was the thing I wanted to tell you, which is so important for me, to improve the way of blowing, I mean taking the air, of course, but also to put this air in your playing, to do two things together, not just fingers in one way and blowing in the same. This has to be close and has to work together. This is very important. You understand?
Yes.
So now, if you have some questions, please, about this chapter, and after perhaps somebody will play. So if something is not clear, or if you think this is a little strange, or even this is completely stupid, it's now time to tell me. Mademoiselle? No? It's really okay for everybody? So, if you need to have more information about what to play, actually, the base exercise is number 4 in the Tafanet. Number 4 is the basic, and of course, the scales should be played by memory, so you don't use the book. You can lose the book, you can forget the book. If you go on holiday, everything is in your head. And you have 24 scales, not 12, 24. That means you have the minor scale, the major scale, and the minor scales. Because often, when I ask a major scale, it's okay, and I'll say, please, give me the minor one, and the difficulties are beginning. So this is important. This takes approximately 20 minutes. You work on the legato, but of course you have to work also on the staccato. But the staccato is another world, and we have no time to speak about this. This will be for the next time. What you have, you have number 6, which number 5, of course, which is chromatic. You have to play it, but this is simple. About the number 6, a little strange exercise because you have just 2 intervals. The tierce, how do you say it? Third, and the 6th. But what about 4th? And what about 7 and so on? One is better, is the Moïse. Difficult. The Moïse book, Exercice journalier. This is a sheet. After. doesn't work. I don't know why, but okay. Even until the octave. So this is difficult. This is really difficult. But instead of number 6, I would say it will be more complete if you play the Moïse exercice journalier. This is for the high level, huh? It's not for the beginners. Ah, number 7. And the number 7 is a mythic one. But yeah, I played it when I was younger. Huh? This is the one. This is for this kind of problem. Huh? Can be worked as well. And after you begin the arpeggios, from 8 to the end, you have all what is hanging on arpeggios. Because you know something important. If you analyze the flute repertoire of technique, the flute repertoire of technique is made with 2 kinds of exercises, only 2. And this is very clear when you analyze the Moïse book, Gammes et Arpèges, 480 exercises. If you look how it's made, you will understand. There are 2 groups of exercises. The exercises where the fingers, when the notes are closed, like a scale or chromatic scale, so you have one note and the next, and the second kind of exercise is what is made with the arpeggios. These are the 2, and you have to practice in the 2 areas. Why is it like this? I don't know. Probably because the music is written with scales and arpeggios. If you play a Mozart concerto, it's all the time scales and arpeggios and nothing else. When you do this is not an arpeggio, but it's an interval. It can be an arpeggio. When you do arpeggio, arpeggio. When you do scale. So the music is made with scales and arpeggios. Beethoven, all the music of Beethoven is made with scales and arpeggios. Mozart, scales and arpeggios. So that's probably the reason why we have to practice this every day. So we are prepared to play everything. But this was the basement of the musical school. When you play, for example, by Quantz, do you know Quantz? Joachim Quantz. Quantz, he wrote a big book named Solfeggi. Try to see what are the solfeggi by Quantz. Solfeggi by Quantz, it's very nice because it's very short, small exercises, small excerpts, small pieces, which are miniature of musical works, but with scales and arpeggios. For example, the one something like this. So you're playing like a small piece, a small work, but actually it's an exercise, and etc. And after the composer or the teacher made books with scales and arpeggios to be prepared to play easily the music. Is that clear? So, practice on this material and always with the conscious of blowing and doing something active and physical with your hair. Okay? Now, perhaps I try to listen to you. Mademoiselle? Mademoiselle first. Jeune homme? Alors?